Hold on to your orange and navy jerseys, Bears Nation, because the NFL free agent market just dropped a bomb so big it could shake the entire NFC North, and the Chicago Bears are sitting right in the middle of the explosion. Just when you thought the offseason was winding down, just when you thought the chess pieces were all in place, the football gods reached down from the heavens and shook the board. A three-time Pro Bowl edge rusher who has terrorized quarterbacks across this entire league, a man who has won the NFC North more times than most teams even make the playoffs, just hit the open market. And the Chicago Bears, they have been connected to this man before. And after everything we saw at minicamp, the timing couldn't be more perfect. We are talking about Zadarius Smith. Yes, that Zadarius Smith. The man, the myth, the edge-rushing legend who has lined up against virtually every team in the NFC North and made their quarterbacks' lives absolutely miserable. The Philadelphia Eagles officially removed him from the reserve/retired list, meaning the 33-year-old is now a fully unrestricted free agent, eligible to sign with any NFL team the moment he decides he's ready to lace those cleats back up. Clutch points and Bears fans, you need to hear this loud and clear. This is not just another aging veteran looking for one last payday. This is a proven, battle-tested sack machine with a personal history with this Bears coaching staff. And the opportunity here is so obvious it's practically screaming at Ryan Poles to pick up the phone. Let's rewind the tape and understand exactly who Za'Darius Smith is, because if you're not fully up to speed on this man's career, you are in for one wild ride. Smith came into the league as a fourth-round pick of the Baltimore Ravens back in 2015, and what he has accomplished since that day has been nothing short of extraordinary. He earned his money in Baltimore, proved himself to the entire league, and then went and cashed in with a massive deal. After his 4-year stint with Baltimore, he landed a 4-year, $66 million contract with the Green Bay Packers in 2019, where he compiled 26 sacks across 3 seasons and was nothing short of a menace in the NFC North. Clutch points. He was a captain. He was a leader. He was the guy making offensive coordinators stay up at night, drawing up extra protection schemes just to slow him down. But the NFL is a cold business, folks. The Packers released him, and Green Bay hasn't taken back the NFC North division since that fateful day just over 4 years ago. That's not a coincidence. That's a fact. And what did Zadarius Smith do when the Packers turned their backs on him? He picked himself up, dusted himself off, and signed with their biggest rival, the Minnesota Vikings, in what was one of the most satisfying revenge plots the NFC North has ever seen. Then he went to Cleveland, then Detroit, then Philly. This man has been everywhere, and he has produced everywhere he's gone. Now, about that retirement. Because yes, he did retire earlier this season. And yes, the timing was shocking. Smith abruptly retired from the Eagles last October after recording just 1.5 sacks in 5 games for Philadelphia. Nobody really saw it coming. One day he was suiting up for the defending Super Bowl champions, and the next day he was walking away from the game. But here's the thing about Zadarius Smith. He's the kind of competitor who doesn't stay away for long. The fire never really goes out in guys like him. And now that the Eagles have cut him loose from that retired list, the door is wide open. He is free, he can go anywhere, and the Chicago Bears should be first in line. And here's where the story gets really interesting for Bears fans. This isn't some random connection being forced together for clicks. There is genuine, documented history between Zadarius Smith and the people currently running the Chicago Bears organization. Ben Johnson, your head coach, the offensive genius who transformed this franchise, was the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions in 2024. And who was playing defensive end for those very same Detroit Lions? Zadarius Smith. These two men shared a practice field. They went to battle together in those Detroit facilities. Ben Johnson knows exactly what this man is capable of, because he had to scheme against him every single day in practice. That kind of familiarity is worth its weight in gold when you're trying to convince a veteran to come play for your team. And the connection doesn't stop there. Dennis Allen, your defensive coordinator, the man now tasked with building one of the most feared defensive fronts in the NFC, was linked to Zadarius Smith when the Bears had interest in him last offseason. These relationships matter. In the NFL, trust between a player and a coaching staff is sometimes the deciding factor between signing with one team over another. Zadarius Smith already knows these people. He already respects their work. That's a massive advantage. Now let's talk about what he actually brings to the field, because the resume here is jaw-dropping. We're talking about a 6'4", 270-pound edge rusher who throughout his career has racked up 70.5 career sacks, 87 tackles for loss, and 176 quarterback hits. He has had 3 seasons with 10 or more sacks. 3. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro. He has played in NFC Championship games and AFC Championship games. He knows what high-pressure football looks like, because he has lived it, and most recently, even in his age, 3-2 season playing a rotational role for the Detroit Lions, he still managed to produce. In just 8 games with Detroit, he racked up 4 sacks, 21 pressures, and 10 quarterback hits. For a rotational player at 32 years old, those numbers are genuinely impressive. It tells you this man still has gas in the tank. But perhaps the most underrated aspect of adding Za'Darius Smith to the Chicago Bears is not what he does on the field on Sundays. It's what he does in that locker room and on that practice field Monday through Saturday. Think about what he means for Austin Booker. The young edge rusher had himself a breakout campaign last year playing alongside Montez Sweat, and the Bears believe he has earned a starting role going into 2026. But having a 3-time Pro Bowler in your ear every single day, a guy who has lined up against Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, and literally every elite quarterback of the modern era, that accelerates your development in ways that no coaching staff can replicate. You can't put a price tag on that education. And here's the NFC North angle that makes this story almost poetic. Zadarius Smith has won the NFC North Division title 5 times throughout his career. 5 times! With the Packers, with the Vikings, with the Lions. He has dominated this division for years. He knows the tendencies of every quarterback in this conference. He knows the offensive schemes. He knows the personnel. He knows where Jared Goff likes to go under pressure. He knows Jordan Love's habits when he's being flushed out of the pocket. That kind of institutional knowledge is something you simply cannot manufacture. Bringing Zadarius Smith to Chicago would mean giving your defense a secret weapon that goes far beyond stats and sacks. The financial situation also makes this an absolute no-brainer. This is not a situation where the Bears would need to break the bank or restructure contracts to make room. An incentive-based deal, which are becoming increasingly popular across the NFL, makes all the sense in the world here. Bring him in for camp. Let him earn his money. If it clicks, you've got yourself one of the most experienced edge rushers in the entire conference. If it doesn't work out, you move on. The risk is minimal. The potential reward is enormous. That is the definition of a smart, calculated roster move. Now, Zadarius Smith isn't the only name making waves in connection to the Chicago Bears right now. While he's the freshest headline, the Bears have also been prominently linked to a man who might just be the most decorated edge rusher of his entire generation. A future Hall of Famer who at 37 years old is still making quarterbacks duck for cover. I am talking about Von Miller. Von Miller, a former second overall pick in 2011, spent his first 11 seasons with the Denver Broncos, where he was one of the NFL's most dominant pass rushers. He also had stops with the Los Angeles Rams, the Buffalo Bills, and most recently the Washington Commanders, and has totaled 138.5 career sacks, making him the current active sack leader in the entire NFL. Yahoo! Read that again. The current active sack leader. At 37 years old, still playing, still producing. ESPN's Matt Bowen identified the Chicago Bears as the best fit for Von Miller, citing Chicago's need for pass rush help after they chose not to address the position in either free agency or the 2026 NFL Draft. Sports Illustrated, and the reasoning is airtight. The Bears are awaiting the return of edge rushers Deo Odeyingbo, who suffered an Achilles injury, and Shamar Turner, coming off a torn ACL after the team didn't take an edge rusher in the draft. That's a lot of eggs in an injury recovery basket, Bears fans. A lot of faith being placed in guys who are still working their way back to full health. Meanwhile, Von Miller had a 9-sack season last year with the Washington Commanders. 9 sacks. At age 37, his trophy case includes 2011 Defensive Player of the Year honors, a Super Bowl 50 MVP award, 8 Pro Bowl selections, and 3 first-team All-Pro honors. This is not a player who stumbled his way to relevance decades ago and has been coasting on reputation ever since. This is a man who was still the best pass rusher on his team just 1 season ago. And the Dennis Allen connection here is nothing short of storybook material. Von Miller's rookie year in Denver, the season that launched one of the greatest defensive careers the NFL has ever seen, came under defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen coached Von Miller when he was a young, hungry rookie trying to prove himself to the world. Miller made 8 Pro Bowl rosters and earned 7 All-Pro honors in the first 9 seasons of his NFL career. Heavy sports. That foundation was built under Dennis Allen's coaching. To bring Miller to Chicago now, later in his career, under that same defensive coordinator, that is a full-circle moment that writes itself. With quarterback play in the NFC North being at an all-time high collectively, Jared Goff putting up monster numbers, Jordan Love locked in with his offense largely intact, and Kyler Murray now with Kevin O'Connell, the Bears need to be able to get after the quarterback. 247 Sports. That is not a debatable point. That is cold, hard reality. And right now, the Bears' pass rush situation carries real uncertainty, with 2 key players still recovering from serious injuries. Adding a veteran like Von Miller, even on a cheap incentive-based deal, provides an insurance policy that this team desperately needs. And then there's the third name in this conversation that doesn't get enough attention: former Baltimore Ravens edge Kyle Van Noy. At 35 years old, Van Noy brings something slightly different to the table. He's a hybrid player, someone who can rush the passer and drop back into coverage as a linebacker, giving Dennis Allen the kind of schematic versatility that defensive coordinators dream about. 12 years in the league, a former Pro Bowler, and just 2 seasons ago he put up 12.5 sacks and 52 pressures in a single season. The year before his numbers dipped, yes, but he was dealing with age-related wear and tear. The talent and the football IQ are still very much there. What all 3 of these players share, Za'Darius Smith, Von Miller, and Kyle Van Noy, is something that cannot be drafted, cannot be developed, and cannot be manufactured in a film room. They have all been in the fire. They have all played meaningful football in January. They have all stared down the biggest moments the NFL has to offer and delivered. For a Chicago Bears team with a young roster, a brilliant young head coach in Ben Johnson, and a franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams who is ready to make his leap, adding that kind of veteran wisdom to the locker room could be the difference between a team that competes and a team that wins. The Bears finished tied for the 7th fewest sacks in the NFL in 2025, and Chicago finished second to last in pass rush win rate at just 29% and 4th worst in pressure percentage at 28%. Sports Illustrated. Those are ugly numbers. Those are numbers that need to change if this team is going to take the next step. The NFC North is loaded. The competition is fierce. Sitting back and hoping injured players heal up on schedule is a gamble, but reaching into this free agent market, where a 3-time Pro Bowler just became available, where a future Hall of Famer is still waiting for his phone to ring, where a veteran Swiss Army knife is looking for his next home, and bringing in the kind of experienced pass rush reinforcement that changes the identity of your defense. That is how you build a winner. Ryan Poles has been methodical. Ben Johnson has been patient. Dennis Allen has been building something. But sometimes in the NFL, the right move falls right into your lap at the right time, and you have to have the awareness to recognize the moment and pull the trigger. Zadarius Smith just became a free agent. Von Miller is still out there. The window is open, Chicago, and it will not stay open forever. The Bears have the cap space, they have the relationships, they have every reason in the world to make this happen. Now all they need is the will to do it. And Bears fans, if minicamp taught us anything, it's that this coaching staff is not afraid to make bold moves when the opportunity presents itself. This is that moment. This is that opportunity. So here's the question that matters, Bears Nation. If you were Ryan Poles, sitting in that Halas Hall office right now, staring at your free agent board, with Zadarius Smith's name sitting right there at the top, a man who knows your coaches, knows your division, knows how to win, do you make the call? Do you bring him in? Do you pair him up with Von Miller for the most dangerous edge rotation this team has assembled in years? Or do you stand pat and trust what you have? That is the conversation this fan base needs to be having right now, and I want to hear exactly where you stand. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me which of these 3 you'd sign: Zadarius Smith, Von Miller, or Kyle Van Noy. Tell me if you think the Bears pull the trigger before training camp. Tell me if you think this defense becomes elite with one more veteran pass rusher added to the mix. This is the good stuff, Bears fans. This is the kind of off-season drama that makes the NFL the greatest sport on the planet. And if you want to stay on top of every single development as this story unfolds, every rumor, every report, every move the Bears make before camp kicks off, you already know what to do. Hit that like button right now, especially if you believe the Bears should bring in another edge rusher before the pads go on this summer. Comment "Da Bears" down below to let me know you're locked in with the crew and you're riding with this team all the way. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you even doing? Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this offseason is heating up fast, and you do not want to miss a single second of it. My name is Nick Cruz, and as always, bear down, baby.